Welcome to Own It Magazine and Publishing. My name is Marisa Bludard, and I am your host. We have this special edition for our international retreats. Taking center stage and owning it with me today will be Dr. Stephanie E. Reid. Her international retreat focuses on reflecting, reframing, and renewing. So we're going to reflect, reframe, frame, and renew. And I'm so excited to be with Dr. Reid today to share with you the experience, what you're going to be expecting to experience, and just get some insight into what happens when you spend time in her presence. And so here is a kind of an insight into a portion of what you can expect. Only one feels alive. Which one are you? And how will you be leaving the retreat? So coming in, you may feel a little overwhelmed like Sarah in the morning. And we're going to work with you so that Dr. Reid is going to be working with you so that you feel energized in your morning. So you're feeling overwhelmed or anything like that, this retreat experience is just for you. When you leave, you're going to be transformed and feeling energized. Dr. Reid specializes in transformational experiences. Only One Feels Alive Part 2. And in the evening, Sarah's feeling she's battling brain fog, and in the afternoon she's battling brain fog. By the afternoon, she's on her third cup of coffee, and just feeling that again overwhelming feeling like you just always have to rush. These retreats are designed to help you to balance, to come into a place of balance, tranquility, and also to owning the moments that you're in. There is a difference between the way that Lisa is arriving and starting off her day and the way that Sarah is. And we want for you to be able to take a deep dive in during these retreats so that you get an opportunity to really reflect and do the introspective work that's necessary for you to transform. I want to give you a little bit of insight into who Dr. Reid is before she comes on with us. Dr. Stephanie E. Reid, PhD, is a certified super conscious coach. Not sure if you've ever heard of that before. Super conscious, that's exactly what these retreats are designed to do, to help you become super conscious of yourself, super conscious coach, and a naturopath. She is the founder of Your Healing Place and the author of the book on transformational healing, from panic to empowerment. Without further ado, I want to bring her here. Each time we do these sessions, I just feel so calm. There's just such a calmness that comes. I guess it's my subconsciousness that within great expectation, really looking forward to coming into that space of tranquility, balance, and everything else. So taking center stage and owning it with me is Dr. Stephanie E. Reid. Again, I am your host, Marisa Bludard, and I am the editor-in-chief of Own It Magazine and Publishing. And here she is, without further ado. Do you feel that? I just feel that woosah, just talking about the retreat, not wanting to be a Sarah. Remember those days of being a Sarah myself. It's so important to not start your day overwhelmed. Dr. Reid, talk about that. Sarah and Lisa.
Sarah, the overwhelmed person who's 40 plus, who just had several diagnoses. The doctor says you're borderline, you're minor, but so she starts her own journey. She starts her yoga, she starts her Pilates, she starts her juicing, and it feels good for about a week, and then she falls off. She has no support. She has no vision of where she needs to go. She just knows that she feels overwhelmed by not only life, but the new diagnosis that she has. And what is even more sad, she can connect with other women and go, girl, me too. So if everybody's saying me too, where's the relief? Where's the release? Where's the peace? Where is the peaceful sleep? Where is the resolve or the results from everything that you're doing that you think is healthy? That's where I come in. And you have that other woman who goes, well, I got a coach. Instead of guessing what naturopathy is, I went and consulted with a doctor of naturopathic medicine with 20 years experience working with women who understands the nuances that women go through. Why? Because I'm a woman. And having to be able to connect the dots with my own personal journey, live this naturopathic life out loud, and get the results, I'm ready, willing, and able to give you the roadmap so you can stop throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying to guess what's right, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. That's what we do. I remember when I was 40. When I was 40, almost 19 years ago, in less than February of 26, I'll be 59 years old. And I'm looking at my son going, dude, you're going to be 38. Whose mother am I? Well, we don't have to look like what we've been through. We can transcend those things. And so if you have support, you have a structure, you have a system, you have accountability, you can rise to the level of that other person that we talked about, the Sarah and the other person, right? So we get to decide who we want to be, but you don't have to do it by yourself. You don't have to do it, and stop trying, because it's not gonna work. If you could do it by yourself, you would have done it already. So I'm here, and I can't wait to see you.
And yeah, oh my God. And you said this, a couple of things, I'm always thinking, you talked about, going and being with other women, and they're saying, me too, me too, me too, me too. And that's the very thing that, okay, you too. But that means that you're not going to get the help that you need, that you're not going to have that aha moment, that super consciousness that says, well, me too, but I don't want this. Like, I get it, because what happens is, how do they say misery loves company?
Trauma bond.
Yeah, right. And so you bond together, but you're regurgitating and you're going back and forth. And what I love about a part of your approach is the super consciousness, because it does take us to be super conscious. We have to be awoke and aware of ourselves, not just things that are happening and trending, but we have to be woke to us. And what I love about your approach is that giving back control to self, saying that you do have what it takes, that you shouldn't go quietly into the night and accept this me too thing, that you should want a better and more quality life for yourself. And so in our last conversation and session that we talked about these retreats, we talked about the pivot. And this is part of that pivot. The pivot says, okay, I'm here with you guys and me too. It's great to have a conversation with, you need that place where you can be safe, transparent, and share. You need that sisterhood where you can share a friendship, bonds that you could share, but you also need a place of transformation. That's the pivot. The pivot is that here I'm talking to you guys, I'm getting it out of my system, but the pivot is saying I'm taking things to the next level. I'm not going to just hear about super consciousness, natural path. I'm not going to just hear about it. I'm going to do the investigative work that's going to help me so that I don't have to stay in this place. You don't have to stay overwhelmed. It becomes a choice after a while. It's one place to get there, to journey and arrive at being overwhelmed. It's another place to say, I'm going to stay here. You can either stay here or you could do the pivot. So talk about the emotional and the identity renewal that comes from the pivot, and two, coming to a retreat such as this.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I want to share with you is, if you're watching us, you're probably saying, I've been to retreats. I know what this is about. I know how to do this. And I would kind of interject and give you a new insight. And this is the reflect, reframe, renew, which is a technique. Imagine you said to someone, can you make me some scrambled eggs? Now, you know you like scrambled eggs, but if you don't give the person the exact system of how to make the eggs for you, those simple scrambled eggs are not going to be what you want. You have to say, crack the eggs, 2 please, scramble them up until there's no transparency in the bowl. That's way you'll know that there won't be the little white things that we hate to pick out, right? Then you say, put some butter in the pan until it's bubbling a little bit white, and then pour the egg in. And as soon as you see the egg turn a little bit more opaque around the edges, that's when you start to flip it. When there's no more sauciness, the egg is done. And then plate it for me. If you can give somebody those instructions, your scrambled eggs will be the exact same way every single time. When it comes to self-development for women, we don't have that system. And so therefore, every time you try to do something to move yourself forward, you never get the same results. So what do you get from the retreat? You get the system. You understand what reflect, reframe, renew means and how to do it and when to do it, right? You get a roadmap of how the journey looks. You get support along the journey, and you absolutely get benchmarks to see if you're doing it correctly so you can have a pivot in the correction of it. So you're creating this new dynamic for yourself where you're getting used to using tools. You get used to using systems. You get used to using a technique so you can get duplicatable results in your spirit, mind, and body every step of the way. Because at the end of the day, you are the only one that can control the life that you see that you want for yourself, but you cannot do it without a system. You're not going to get those scrambled eggs perfectly unless you deliver the system. So when you get to the retreat, you get the system and the tools. So after you leave, you can continue on the momentum of what we started. So what you're going to get, your body, your diagnosis are going to change. Your mindset is going to change. Your emotional intelligence is going to be elevated. That's what you're going to get from this moment in time that we call the Reflect, Reframe, Renew Retreat. And that's how you pivot out of despair, overwhelm, anxiety into power and precision and leadership in your life moving forward. That's what you get.
I love how you tapped on one, measurability, right? Because measurability is so critically important for us to see how we're evolving, right? How are we transforming in this process? And measurability lets you know, is it working, right? So if I can see it's measurable, I can see and analyze and assess myself that it's working. It's just like starting a transformation. You want to lose weight, you want to get healthy. How do you measure that? You measure that by the visible results, right? So am I feeling better? That's one. And if you're feeling better, then automatically that's going to up your energy level. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to skyrocket, but you can see that you're showing up. You're not overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is a part of physical space as well as mental, emotional, spiritual. It is. And it's heavy. Being overwhelmed is heavy. So when you begin to transform and apply your methodology, you should be able to see the measurable results. How Lisa shows up energized because she's applying the method, right? She's applying the approach. And so measurability is very important. Leadership is very important. We talk about leadership and leading others, but we don't talk about leadership, about self-leadership as much as we should be talking about it, because self-leadership, how can you lead others if you can't lead yourself effectively, right? So it's so important for us to know and that time alone. So retreating means to what? Retreat, go away, get away. Reflect means to look and observe and assess. So when you retreat to reflect, you get an opportunity to kill all the noise so that you can hear clearly what your brain is saying. One, that you're saying to yourself now. Quiet enough for you to say to yourself and be able to hear yourself and process all of that. It's so critically important. And I know for me, it's a passion. I'm here with you taking center stage and owning it because I want us women to be more healthy. I want us to be more whole. When you have a spirit that really just loves people unconditionally, just loves them, it pains me to see us not show up, not take center stage and owning it. And taking center stage and owning it is not cute. It's owning it. It's showing up in the queenship that you deserve. Wear that crown and not wear it in bitterness, indifferent, and because that don't look good. Ladies,
not a good look.
Good. When a woman owns her womanhood and wears the crown with grace, pure happiness, and contentment and fulfillment, it's beautiful. You used an analogy in the last session about the Wizard of Oz and how, I forget, it's the witch's aides, whatever the witch's soldiers. When they zipped off that, and this is the Black Wiz, by the way, when they zipped that thing off and they came out of those, that covering, that casing, they even themselves first saw how beautiful, I think that's how you described it, how beautiful they were. And then they blossomed in. There is nothing like a beautiful woman who is purely, authentically happy and comfortable in her own skin. There's nothing more delightable, more treasurable to see a woman who is authentically, organically happy, whole, and ready to serve. We are at a place where we're to pour out our legacy on the up and coming young women. And if we're bitter and indifferent, what are we pouring into them?
Bitter and indifferent.
Right. Yeah. And so talk, Dr. Reid, in regards to the meaningful connection, cultural immersions that comes from the fulfillment, like what comes from participating in this retreat, getting all of what you're saying and applying it. What's the results of that?
Well, let's talk about how do we get the results, because when we get to retreat, something like this, we all have on a mask that nothing's wrong with me. I know what I'm doing. I understand how things work. I'm just here, because we don't want to admit that there's something we have to work on, right? But here's the thing. Naturopathy is not just about what kind of herbs or vitamins or minerals or diet I can give you, ladies. It's also high tech. So when I said that we can test it out to see the progress that we're making, when you first come to our first session, you're going to get a link. You're going to download an app on your phone, and we're going to take 30 seconds and everybody's just going to scan their face. When you scan your face in the app, what you will find is your hormone levels, your bacterial load, your viral load, your stress level, but it will also tell you what trapped emotions that you have, which taps into the superconscious. You don't even realize it is there. Some of it you know, but you might not know that subconsciously you have envy and jealousy. You might not know that subconsciously that you're blaming somebody else, and the technology will spell it all out. So then you can't hide. That's the first thing. By the time the retreat is over, we will be able to do it again, because we would have been doing some work to bring you on alignment, and you will be able to see the progress that you've made in just 4 days, because you've been giving the tools, the roadmap, the support, and accountability. That's the level of precision that you'll come away with in the retreat, and we will continue that after retreat if you decide to work with me one-on-one. I don't know why you would not continue this work, because you're not going to get this level of care anywhere else. But at least you have the autonomy to go and check yourself and go, how am I doing with this emotion that I'm working on? Because, ladies, emotions affect you physically. So I'm going to give you the roadmap really quickly. If you have a lung problem, you have a grief problem. If you have a heart problem, you have a sadness problem, and you can actually die from a broken heart. Did you know that?
Yep.
It's called stress cardiomyopathy. Somebody or something can break your heart so hard or so deeply your heart muscle can actually stop working. And if you have a poor diet because you're eating carbohydrates because you need to feel better and your thyroid gland is all out of whack, and you have dry hands and dry skin and cold hands and cold feet, which indicates a low thyroid problem, which is going to make your hypertension worse, then you're going to have this experience of, oh, this is why all this is happening to me. But we get to test it by just scanning your face. So don't think that we're just doing foo-foo stuff. We're doing high-tech accountability things that brings us into complete alignment. That's what you're going to get. So that's how you pivot. That's how you check. And that's how you remain accountable. So you've never, ever experienced anything like this before.
This is amazing. And it's just like you said, the hidden things, right? The things that we try to make sure that we keep covered. It's critically important for us to deal with those things, right? The minute that we confront them, the minute that we can begin to be transformed from them. And just go there. Yeah. There you go. I hear your little pup there.
My little grandson just came in and said, what are you doing, Grandma? And this is how we say, I love you. So we do a fist bump, we do a high five, and then we say, I love you. So I was saying, I love you to him.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love the babies. And so anyway, Dr. Reid, I'm really excited about you coming here. This retreat is taking place in the Dominican Republic. If you watch the ticker tape below, Reflect, Reframe, Renew, a women's wellness retreat with Dr. Stephanie Reid. This is going to be taking place March 4th through the 8th. She does have a couple of dates, but this is the first date. And I know that after hearing this interview with Dr. Reid, that you're anxious to get here. You're anxious to sign up. And so we will have the link for you to go ahead and sign up, get committed, get involved, get moving forward. If you need to get in touch with Dr. Reid ahead of time, by all means, you'll have her website there as well for you to get contact with her, because pre-work is good, because you do pre-work, then you get, by the time you get here, you are fully 100% ready to move forward and get a more impactful experience once you arrive. And so we just want to say, Dr. Reid, thank you so very much for being with us today. Again, we really appreciate your time, and we really appreciate your insight and your expertise, and just really excited because, I have a heartbeat for self-awareness, self-development, and self-mastery. That's what Own It is all about, because when we do that, we can live a fulfilling life. And so without further ado, I want to say thank you so very much, audience. We love you. Thank you. Be blessed. Make sure you secure your spot, because there is limited space. We will talk to you soon. Be in touch with us if you're interested. And like I said, use the links that we provide below so that you can sign up, get connected with Dr. Reid. We love you, and we are out. Thank you.